Are you sure they won't catch us? Are you sure it's safe? Lara asked Bola, with worry written all over her face as they were about to sneak out of the school through a secret path in the fence. This is not our first or second time doing this, so just trust us and tag along. But if you're not bold enough, then go back to the hostel and read your books as usual. Bola replied to her with an angry face, her voice dripping with irritation. I wonder why you're asking such a stupid question. Didn't you say you want to be one of us? Funmi asked as well, raising an eyebrow as she adjusted the straps of her designer handbag. Lara didn't want to offend them. She wanted to feel among the big girls of Brian's college, so she summoned courage and sneaked out of school with them. Lara had gained admission into Brian's college a few months ago on a scholarship as a boarding student. She came from a very poor background, but she was very brilliant and intelligent, so she was fortunate to get a scholarship into Brian's college. When she got to Brian's college, she took her studies very seriously, just as her parents advised her before she left the village for the city. She avoided trouble and made sure not to break any school rules or regulations. However, Laura started getting distracted when she met a girl called Bola. Unlike Laura, Bola came from a very rich family. Her parents were politicians, so she had everything she wanted. She was a spoiled child who would often ridicule and bully those from poor families, alongside her partner Funmi, who was also from a wealthy home. Lara envied Bola, and she admired the way they lived in school, being able to buy whatever they wanted, and the way everyone respected them. Bola's flashy jewelry and Funmi's constant chatter about vacations abroad captivated Laura. So, she started getting closer to them. Lara's friends warned her against Bola and Funmi, but she stubbornly refused to listen. One day, Bola and Funmi told Lara that they would sneak out of school at night to visit a club and that they would like her to come with them if she really wanted to be one of them, Lara felt so happy and accepted to join them. When it was time, Laura was scared, but she built the courage and decided to go with them. When they sneaked out of the school compound, Bola and Funmi changed into skimpy and short dresses. They also gave a dress to Laura and asked her to wear it, but she wasn't comfortable with the clothes she was given because it was too short and skimpy. This cloth is too short for me. My lap is exposed and my back is open. Don't you have another piece of clothing for me? Lara asked, holding the dress against her body, her voice trembling. Are you serious? Too short? You want to go to the club looking like an old woman? Or what? See, if you won't wear that cloth, go back into the hostel. I told you not to bring this village girl with us. If you won't wear it, then go back into the school and stay away from us. They threatened her again, glaring at her as they adjusted their own outfits. Laura foolishly succumbed to their threats and wore the clothes that she was given. It was indeed very short and clung to her body like glue on paper, revealing her thighs and exposing most of her body. When they had finished preparing, Bola brought out a cell phone, which she hid in her backpack, and called a strange number, telling the person that they were ready. In less than 10 minutes, a luxurious car pulled over in front of them, its headlights piercing through the dimly lit street, and the driver came down to hug Bola. Then he asked them to enter the car so he could take them to the club. Lara felt uneasy, her palms sweating, but she didn't have the courage to refuse. Together, they entered the car, with Bola seated in front, while Lara and Funmi were at the back. The man drove off, and in a few minutes they arrived at the club. It was filled with a lot of people, and Laura could see a lot of things that she didn't feel comfortable with. she saw some guys smoking outside and some young girls who were with men in uncomfortable positions, giggling loudly as they leaned against expensive cars. "Let's go inside," Bola said, diverting Laura's attention from what she was focused on. And they all entered the club. Inside the club, there were a lot of people drinking and dancing to very loud music. Lara wasn't comfortable, so she went to sit by the bar, her fingers nervously tapping the counter, while Bola and Funmi went with a guy into a different part of the club, while Laura was seated, looking around the club in shock that such a place should exist. A handsome man came to sit with her. "Hey, beautiful!" the man yelled at the top of his voice so that Laura could hear him over the deafening music. "Good evening, sir. My name is Dell. What is your name, and why is a beautiful girl like you seated all alone?" he asked, flashing a charming smile. "I'm sorry. I don't talk to strangers. I'm here with my friends. They will be here soon," Laura replied, her voice barely audible. "Don't be scared. I won't harm you. I already told you my name. I really like you and would love to be your friend because you are very beautiful." Laura smiled at his compliments. It was the first time a man had asked her out, so she felt desired, but also scared at the same time because her parents had warned her when she got admission into boarding school to stay away from boys and focus on her education. There will always be time for boys, so just focus on your education so that they will not be a distraction to you. The words of her mother echoed through her head once again. Lara thanked Dell for his compliments, but refused to tell him her name. Dell tried and tried to convince her, but Lara was determined to stand her ground. So Dell gave her a piece of paper that contained his number. Just as he was giving her the paper, Bola and Funmi showed up from where they had gone. They were very shocked to see Dell with Lara, but before they got to where Lara sat, Dell had already left. "Please, I'm not comfortable here. Can we go back to school before anyone notices that we are missing?" Laura said, clutching the paper tightly. "It's early, and nobody will know we went out. You need to learn how to calm down. Take some drinks and have fun," Bola said, rolling her eyes. "Try and blend in. You don't need to show everyone that you're a local girl," Funmi added, smirking. They ordered some shots of alcohol and convinced Lara to take some. Lara gave up after gulping the first shot. It was her first time taking alcohol, and it didn't taste too nice, so she just sat and watched as Bola and Funmi danced with different men, drinking and smoking. In the early hours of the morning, when they took a cab back to school, they changed their clothes once again and sneaked back into the hostel without being caught. When it was morning, the two girls asked, "The guy that was with you at the club when we left, what were you both discussing about? Do you know who he is?" Funmi asked. "No, he said his name is Deal and he would like to be my friend, but I told him I'm not interested. He gave me his number, though," Lara replied. They became surprised. Funmi moved closer to Lara and told her who Dele was. Dele is one of the wealthiest men in this town. He has a big house and many cars. Imagine having someone like him as your boyfriend. You would lack nothing in life, but I don't want or need a boyfriend. My parents warned me about being close to any man or boy. They asked me to focus on my studies," Lara replied firmly. "Why are you so childish? Don't you want to have a phone of your own, with enough money to buy whatever you want to eat, without waiting for only what they serve at the canteen?" I have a boyfriend. I have a boyfriend. Yet I'm doing well academically. So who says having a boyfriend would make you fail in your studies, please? Bring his number. Let us call him immediately, Bola said, her eyes gleaming with excitement. Lara was doubtful at first, but she foolishly listened to them. She brought out the piece of paper, and they called Delhi using a hidden mobile phone. Then they gave the phone to Laura and went out to check if anyone was coming, as they were not allowed to use mobile phones in the boarding school. The phone rang for some time before Del picked up the call. Hello, who is this? Lara was scared at first, but she greeted him and told him that she was the girl he gave his number to the previous night. Del instantly remembered and they started conversing. Della and Lara became very close after that day and would often talk on the phone every weekend. Lara would sneak out with Bola and Funmi to go and see Della, who would take them to the club and lavish money on them. Della got Lara her own phone, and it didn't take long before she fell deeply and madly in love with him. Lara stopped taking her studies seriously. She started living a wayward life just like Bola, and her academics began to suffer. She also stopped hanging around her previous serious friends and instead joined Bola's crew. One fateful weekend, when they all sneaked out as usual to meet Del, this time he didn't take them to the club. He took them to his house. He told them it was his birthday, and he was having a birthday party at his house. When they got there, the girls were surprised at how big and beautiful his house was. There were a lot of people already at his house, drinking and partying to very loud music. The house was adorned with expensive chandeliers, marble floors, and walls lined with photographs of Del's travels around the world. The sound system echoed throughout the neighborhood, making it impossible to hear anything outside. Del told Lara that he had a present for her in his room, and Lara trusted him enough to follow him into his room. When they got to his room, Dele locked the door and showed Lara a brand new gown, which was very beautiful. However, he told Lara to sleep with him before she could take the gift with her. Lara was shocked at his request and told him, "I'm sorry. I don't think I can let you sleep with me. I made a vow that I would keep my virginity until my wedding night for my husband. But you love me, and I've also promised to marry you. Just give me your body, and I promise to give you anything you want." Della replied. Laura refused Del's advances despite all his tactics, which only got him upset. He pushed her to the bed and started tearing her clothes. Lara screamed and screamed at the top of her voice, but no one could hear her because of the loud music at the party. Dele eventually had his way with her and forcefully took away her virginity, leaving her heartbroken and betrayed. Then he left her upstairs and returned to the party. Lara cried her eyes out. Her clothes were already torn, so she had to wear the brand new beautiful gown that Della bought for her. When she came downstairs, Bola saw her and was so carried away by the gown she was wearing that she didn't even notice the pain on Lara's face and how her legs trembled as she walked. "Please take me back to the hostel," Lara said with tears streaming down her cheeks. Bola saw that Lara was deeply in pain, and together with Funmi, they sneaked back into the hostel that night. When they got back, Laura narrated all that happened to them. But to her greatest surprise, they were not even remorseful. Instead, they told Lara, "Why are you behaving like a child? Did you really expect him to buy all those things without asking you for anything in return?" Funmi said to her. Would you rather be a virgin and live like a slave or enjoy life to the fullest? There's always a first time for everything. So, please, it's not a big deal. Lara was hurt badly by their words. She broke down in tears and blamed them for all that happened to her, but they didn't care. They simply walked away and asked her to get drugs for the pain. From that day henceforth, Laura stayed away from them because she learned her lesson the hard way. Della continued calling her, but she wanted him to stay away from her and never call her again. She wished she had listened to her friends when they asked her to be mindful of the friends she kept and the people she envied. Lara took her studies seriously once again and avoided distractions, but little did she know that it was just the beginning of her problems. One fateful morning, Lara woke up feeling nauseous and weak. She felt a rumble in her stomach and rushed to the restroom to vomit some white substance. She had no idea what was wrong with her until one of her very close friends, whose mother was a doctor, told her that she was pregnant. Lara doubted her at first until she tested herself with a pregnancy kit and got a positive result. She broke down in tears, confused and depressed. She didn't know what to do. She thought of telling her parents, but she couldn't bring herself to confess all the foolish things she had done. After thinking for a while, she decided to call Deli. When she finally got the courage to call Del, he picked up the phone and recognized her voice instantly. "Good girl, I can see you have finally regained your senses. Should I be expecting you this weekend?" Del said. "Dele, I'm calling to tell you that I am pregnant." Del kept silent for a while. Then he said, "How is that my business? You better go and look for the father of your bastard child, instead of trying to pin it on me." Lara could not believe her ears. She looked at the phone screen to be sure it was truly Del she was talking to, the same Del who had promised to marry her, who swore he would love her with all his heart. "Del, what do you mean you're the first man to see my nakedness? You forcefully had your way with me, and now you're trying to deny the pregnancy. Look here, my friend, it is better you go and terminate that bastard in your womb, or go out there and find the father. Please don't ever call my line again." Immediately Del said this, he disconnected the call and blocked Lara's number. Lara tried to call him back, but his number didn't connect. Out of desperation, she sneaked out of the hostel the next week and went to Del's house, but she got the shock of her life when she saw him with a woman who claimed to be his wife and two beautiful children. It was at that moment that Laura knew she was doomed. When she realized she had no choice, she went to meet Bola and Funmi once again, pleading for their assistance to terminate the pregnancy, but they also pushed her away. "You're on your own, Laura." "I don't want to have anything to do with you," Bola said to her. "You always act like you are holier than all of us. Please don't implicate us with your foolishness." Lara felt hopeless. She started searching the internet for ways to terminate a pregnancy. Unfortunately for her, she found a website where people listed some strange drugs. Lara bought the drugs and took them without proper prescription. It didn't take long before it started to react in her body, and she started bleeding seriously. She was rushed to the school clinic and eventually transferred to a bigger hospital for surgery in order to save her life. After the surgery was completed, her parents were notified and the principal of the school was informed. They were told that Lara tried to abort a pregnancy by taking the wrong medication, which almost cost her life. They were able to save her life, however. She lost her womb in the process and wouldn't be able to give birth to children anymore. When Lara got the news, she cried and cried, but her tears could not change the past or the wrong decisions she made. She spent the rest of her life in shame and pain as a lesson to other students so they wouldn't make the same mistakes she did. Bola and Funmi were also expelled from the school for breaking the rules and regulations of the school. And Della was arrested by the police for forcefully sleeping with Lara. The moralizing of this story reminds us to be mindful of the friends we keep and not be tempted to involve yourself in things that you are not comfortable with. Just because you want to please anybody, no matter how pressured you may be, always remember your moral principles and stick to them. Don't forget where you come from. In all you do, let it be at the back of your mind. With each decision you make, ask yourself if your folks back at home would be proud of it or not. Thank you for watching and staying with us till the end of this impactful story. Remember, the choices we make today shape our future, and being mindful of the company we keep is key to protecting our dreams. Let's always prioritize our values, focus on our goals, and never compromise on self-respect. If you found this story meaningful, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring content. See you in the next video. In a very beautiful city called Avalon, known for its cobbled streets lined with lush, blooming flowers and a market square bustling with colors and scents, there lived a very young and beautiful lady named Zara, who recently moved to Avalon City. She rented a charming apartment with a balcony overlooking the tranquil Avon River, which became her favorite place to sit and sip her morning tea. Zara was admired by many bachelors who wanted to marry her, but strangely, Zara had no interest in bachelors, no matter how rich they may be. She was only interested in happily married rich men, and she prided herself on the number of homes she had broken. Zara had no remorse, and whenever the wives of the men she slept with approached her, Zara would bluntly rebuke and ridicule them. "Don't talk to me," she would say, her voice cold and dismissive. "Walk on your body, no man wants an ugly thing for a wife." Her words cut deep, often spoken in crowded places like the bustling market or the local cafe, making the wives' humiliation public and unbearable. Some of the women would go on their knees, pleading with Zara to stay away from their husbands for the peace of their home. But Zara would ridicule them, often laughing cruelly, and leave them in pain. Zara took pride in breaking happy homes and destroying happy families. In less than 6 months after Zara moved to Avalon City, she became well known by everyone as a homebreaker. The whispers about her could be heard in the market, during evening gatherings at the central square, and even at church services where concerned wives prayed for protection. However, it didn't stop other married men from falling into her trap. She was very beautiful and seductive. No man could resist her touch. Every married woman in Avalon City was scared for their marriages because they did everything they could to ensure their husbands did not fall into Zara's grip. She was equally a very good cook. Her meals were rumored to be irresistibly delicious, and she knew how to create an atmosphere of intimacy that drew men in. Her small but lavishly decorated apartment, always smelling of exotic spices and scented candles, became a haven for those who were lured into her web. Some even rumored her to be very diabolical, but they were wrong. She was just very skilled in the art of seduction. One day, as Zara was on her way to the market, she admired the quaint streets of Avalon, with their colorful storefronts and vendors who greeted her with polite smiles. though most whispered about her the moment she passed. On her way, she saw a very expensive SUV for the first time since she arrived in Avalon City. The car parked a few meters from her in front of a supermarket, and a very handsome man called Kobe alighted from the SUV with a beautiful lady called Mira, who she assumed to be his wife. Zara was mesmerized by how happy and delightful Kobe was with Mira. The way he opened the door for her, his gentle touch on her back, and the smile that reached his eyes, all of it drew Zara in. Instantly, she made up her mind to break up his home. She quickly walked into the supermarket and approached him. "Hi, I am Zara." She introduced herself to Kobe when she noticed his wife was far from him, browsing through some shelves. But unlike other men who would be captivated by her beauty, Kobe appeared to not be moved at all. It seemed as though Kobe didn't know who she was. "How may I help you?" Kobe asked her with his straight face, his voice calm but firm. Zara relied on her beauty to captivate Kobe's heart, so she was dumbfounded when Kobe wasn't moved at all by her appearance. She watched in surprise as Kobe walked out on her when she failed to give him an answer. After she had finished buying what she wanted to buy, she coincidentally met Kobe at the cashier to pay. To her surprise once again, Kobe asked the cashier to put all her bills on him. Then he left before Zara could say thank you. When Zara got home, she couldn't stop thinking about Kobe and what she experienced with him. She felt inferior and her ego was bruised, so she decided deep within her that she would do whatever it takes to compel Kobe to fall in love with her and lure him into her bed. Perhaps when he experiences my sexual powers and cooking skills, he would come begging on his knees like a dog, Zara said to herself, her voice echoing in her empty apartment, which suddenly seemed colder and less comforting. Zara started stalking Kobe, trying to get as much information on him as she could. But Kobe was like a ghost. She was told that he recently moved into Avalon City with his wife Mira, and no one knew anything about him or his wife. However, Zara was told that Kobe was very wealthy beyond anyone's imagination, but Mira was yet to give him a child after almost a decade of marriage. Despite this, Kobe was known to be very faithful to his wife, and people claimed that it was impossible for him to cheat on his wife Mira. This revelation kicked Zara's interest in him even more. She saw him as a challenge to be conquered and became even more determined to break his home. She told herself that if she could get pregnant for Kobe, she could compel him to divorce his wife because she was barren. The next day, Zara tracked Kobe to his office. She booked an appointment as a client, but when she entered his office, Zara locked the door behind her and boldly went to sit on Kobe's lap. "Ever since the day I saw you at the supermarket, I couldn't take my mind off you. I love you, Kobe. I am ready to give you my body and my heart. All I ask is that you belong to me." Kobe looked at her, his expression unreadable. "But I am married, and I cannot leave my wife." "It doesn't matter. I don't care if you have a wife. I'm not asking you to marry me. All I'm asking for is for you to allow me to share you with her." Zara's eyes glistened with determination as she spoke. Kobe smiled at her bold statement. "If that's what you want, then there's no problem," Kobe replied and embraced Zara passionately. Afterwards, they exchanged contacts, and Zara went home feeling so happy and victorious. She felt she had finally captured Kobe's heart, but little did she know that she was the prey, and Kobe was the predator. Kobe would often take Zara to very expensive and luxurious places. He spoiled her with gifts and expensive jewelry. He funded her flamboyant and extravagant lifestyle, and she started getting addicted to an expensive lifestyle. Zara felt she had won Kobe's heart, but unlike other women who would often go to confront her, beg her, or go as far as threatening her to leave their husbands, Mira was very calm and peaceful. Oftentimes, Mira would see her husband with Zara, but she wouldn't say a word. She would simply smile, her eyes serene, and walk away. This strange personality of Mira bothered Zara deeply. She derived joy knowing she had conquered a woman's husband, but in Kobe's case, she didn't feel victorious because Mira wasn't bothered by the relationship she had with Kobe. However, Zara enjoyed the treatment which Kobe often gave her, so she ignored the red flags and continued relishing the moment with Kobe. She would flaunt her gifts and new clothes around Avalon, showing off at the market square and boasting to anyone who would listen. Zara believed that once she got pregnant for Kobe, he would leave Mira forever. But after 2 months of her relationship with Kobe, she found it very odd that Kobe refused to sleep with her, despite how seductive and tempting she was. Oftentimes, she had tried to seduce Kobe or get him drunk, but all her tactics to lure him into her bed proved abortive. This deeply bothered Zara a lot, and she started to think Kobe wasn't man enough. Until one day, Kobe informed Zara that his birthday was coming up the following week, and he wanted to celebrate it in a grand way. He invited Zara to one of his houses, one that she had never been to. On that, Kobe sent her a beautiful red gown and instructed her to wear it when she was coming for the party. Zara did as she was instructed and wore the red gown to the party, but when she got there, she was unable to recognize anyone. All the faces were new faces in Avalon City, and they all wore very expensive clothing and came in luxurious cars. The air was filled with the scent of rare perfumes, and laughter echoed through the grand hall. Zara was still puzzled when Kobe grabbed her hand and called for everyone's attention. "Ladies and gentlemen, please meet the most beautiful woman in Avalon City. She is the reason for this celebration," Kobe said. Everyone clapped massively with cheerful smiles. The introduction made Zara so happy she felt it was a birthday celebration. But unknown to her, it was the night of her doom. Kobe took Zara into one of the rooms inside the beautiful mansion. He gave her a wine which he had previously laced with a sleeping pill. Before they entered the room, unsuspecting, Zara drank the wine because she trusted Kobe, and gradually she started feeling dizzy until she fell asleep. Kobe carefully removed her gown and kept her gently on the bed. Zara was asleep, but her eyes opened slowly in intervals. While she was struggling with her consciousness, she saw Mira, Kobe's wife, walk into the room. Mira turned into a very big cobra and slept with her while Kobe stood and watched. Zara was very weak from the wine that she took, so she couldn't move her limbs. As she witnessed these things, she drifted off into a deep sleep. When she woke up the following morning, she saw Kobe lying beside her. "Good morning, my love." Kobe smiled at her and kissed her forehead. "Last night was crazy. You were so good." Kobe lied to her. Zara recalled the event she witnessed the previous night, but she dismissed it and convinced herself that it must be a dream. She assumed that Kobe had slept with her because he was lying beside her. Kobe dropped Zara home a few hours later and gave her a lot of money, as usual, to spoil herself with. Then he drove off. Ever since that day, Kobe stopped answering her calls or replying to her text messages. Zara was confused because she couldn't remember offending Kobe. She also noticed that all the men who admired her in the past stopped approaching her, unknown to her that Kobe and his wife Mira had stolen her womb and beauty to renew their womb and beauty, to renew their wealth. Kobe was a ritualist, and his wife was in on it. After trying several times to reach out to Kobe without success, she decided to go to the village where she came from to see her mother. Zara's mother was a single mother. She was named Lillian. When she was just a teenager, she was forced to live with her aunt in the city. However, her aunt's husband was infatuated by her beauty and raped Lillian, which led to her pregnancy. Sadly, no one believed Lillian when she told them her aunt's husband was responsible for her pregnancy. She was evicted from her aunt's house, and she carried the baby and suffered all by herself. When she finally gave birth to her baby Zara, she was beautiful and exceptional, but Lillian still bore anger and hate in her heart towards her aunt's husband. And so she trained her daughter wrongly, corrupting her mind with evil thoughts, that all happily married men were monsters. Zara grew up with this mindset, and that was why she dedicated her life to destroying happily married homes to show the world that men were all the same. After Zara met her mother, she explained all that transpired with Kobe. Her mother decided to take her to a very powerful wizard to reveal what truly happened. When they visited the wizard, he made some incantations and revealed to Zara that Kobe wasn't an ordinary man. The powerful wizard said to them, Kobe was a very poor, wretched man when he met Mira. Mira is the daughter of the river goddess. For Kobe to become rich, he made a covenant with the river goddess in order to be wealthy. The river goddess gave him 3 conditions. Kobe had to marry her daughter. He must never sleep with any woman, and every year he had to provide a young woman's womb and beauty by allowing her daughter to sleep with the young woman. Zara was shocked at what the wizard said. She suddenly realized why Mira wasn't moved by her tantrums. Zara went on her knees and pleaded with the wizard to help her. The wizard faced his deity once again and made some incantations. Then he revealed to Zara that the only way to get back her womb and beauty was to kill Mira, the daughter of the river goddess. Zara became confused, and she wondered how it was possible to kill the daughter of the river goddess. But she's a spiritual being, while I am just an ordinary human, Zara complained. This is all I can do for you. You would have to figure out the rest by yourself, the wizard replied. Zara and her mother thanked the powerful wizard and went back home. However, Zara couldn't sleep that night. She stayed up all night thinking about a way to kill Mira, Kobe's wife. The next day, Zara came up with a plan. She was fortunate to find a young, gorgeous lady called Fiona. After some days, Zara told Fiona her story and what Kobe did to her. Then she promised Fiona a lot of money if she could seduce and entice Kobe to use her for his next sacrifice. Fiona felt really scared, but the money Zara promised her was so much that she couldn't refuse. Together, they planned that Fiona would go to the party when invited, but she must not take the drink which Kobe would offer her. A few weeks later, Fiona relocated to Avalon City, just as planned. No one knew her or where she came from, and in a short while, she caught the attention of all the men in Avalon City, but she refused all their advances. Her ultimate goal was Kobe, and it didn't take long before Kobe noticed her. She pretended to be enticed by his wealth and played along just as Zara instructed her. When it was the same time of the year, Kobe invited Fiona to his birthday party, just like he invited Zara. But Fiona knew better and also knew what to expect. She wore the gown which Kobe sent, and after he introduced her to his guests, just as he introduced Zara, he led her quietly into the same room, like a sheep to the slaughter. However, when Kobe offered her the wine, she pretended to drink it. Meanwhile, she poured it under the bed. After some minutes, she pretended to be dizzy and lay on the bed. Kobe quickly removed her clothes and placed her on the bed. Some minutes later, Mira entered the room. Kobe changed into a red robe and began chanting some incantations. Fiona lay still until Mira turned into a snake and slithered towards her on the bed. Fiona quickly jolted up and grabbed the snake by the head, giving Kobe the fright of his life. He became confused and didn't know what to do. He watched on as Fiona grabbed the bottle of wine beside the bed, broke it, and stabbed the snake multiple times on its head. The snake let out a loud cry and started changing into Mira once again. With each stab she gave the snake, she could see Kobe experiencing a similar intense pain in a part of his body, making him unable to defend Mira. Fiona didn't stop. She continued attacking the snake as it transformed back into Mira until all that was left was Mira in a pool of blood. Fiona quickly washed herself and sneaked out of the room back into the party. It was when the house cleaner entered the room that she raised an alarm after seeing the corpses of Kobe and Mira. The other guests, who were accomplices in his crimes, scampered for their safety before the police arrived. However, when they entered the room, Mira's corpse was missing. Zara got her womb and beauty back, and the wombs of all the women he had stolen were returned to them. Zara paid Fiona as she promised and changed her ways. She went back to apologize to all the women she had caused pain to and pleaded for their forgiveness. Some years later, she got married to a very handsome and compassionate man and had beautiful children of her own. Her mother regretted the wrong things she taught her child, and she dedicated the rest of her life to making up for her past errors. This story reminds us that no matter how far we've strayed, it's never too late to change and make amends. Zara's journey from a homebreaker to a compassionate woman shows the power of redemption and the strength of forgiveness. We all have the capacity to grow and learn from our mistakes, and by doing so, we can bring healing not only to ourselves but also to those we've hurt. Remember, the choices we make today shape our future, and it's never too late to choose the right path.